Welcome to the Grace Simon podcast. My name is Jade Stevens. I'm a designer and marketer. I work with Grace, and I'm here to help her pull out details for her podcast. Today on the show, we're going to just get to know Grace and see what's going on in her world. Welcome, Grace.
Thanks for having me, Jade. This is exciting.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about who you are and how you ended up in real estate.
Who am I? How did I end up in real estate? Well, I'm a mother of four, been married for 26 years. And I say that because I got married at 19 years old, and had my first a year into getting married. So I had my first when I was 20. I had 3 of my 4 kids by 26 years old. So when I, was pregnant with my third, I was like, what am I doing? What is happening here? So, my 20s were basically being a mom and running around, and I loved it because when you're in your 20s, you're so energetic, and I just loved that time, that season of my life where it was all about my kids, all about my family, running them around to different kids events and playing music loud and driving fast. It's just, that's what it's like being a mom of 20s. I just loved raising my kids, and that was my main focus. I always did part-time jobs to help bring in some extra income because it's always a burden to rely on one partner to provide for the whole family. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I was always coming up with different things that I could do to help raise money, whether it was babysitting or doing, the multi-level business, selling items, doing home shows. And I also worked at a car dealership part-time in a business office. So I did that, and I had made up my mind that until my kids were fully in school, then I would think about a career and what I was going to do for the rest of my life. So at 31, when my kids were all at school, it was time for me to decide what career, who am I, what am I going to do with my life, what do I want to do? And I struggled with that, not having the education after high school and being a mom and living this life of taking care of other people. Like, I didn't really have a whole lot of time to think about Grace Simon and who she was and what she wanted to be. And so I really struggled. And then I stopped struggling with it. I just looked around me and saw my lines, what they were involved in. And my mom was a branch manager for Scotiabank for many years. And my grandmother was a realtor. My aunt was a realtor. All her cousins were realtors. And I just saw, the freedom that they had, the love for people, how they could really help out in the community, giving the flexibility with your family and the kids. And so I decided, this is a natural resource. It's a natural, profession to go into for me because I love people and I love to help people and I love to be a part of the community. So at 31, I started studying to be a realtor and got my real estate license. And so I started in 2006 and came out of the gate running because I'm a realtor in the town that I was born and raising my kids in. And my father was a pastor. My husband was a manager at the local car dealership. And my mom was, of course, the branch manager in town. So I had a very strong community sphere and circle. And of course, with my kids, raising them, it was just easy to connect and be with people.
So what makes you so passionate about helping people find a home that they love?
For me, it's always about the people, and I really want to see people live their best life. So, Jade, it's not just about finding the right house, it's about finding the right community, being near the things that you love to do, that you love to experience, being around the culture that you enjoy and the type of people, because that really, it sets your whole aim for how you like to wake up in the morning and what you like to do and living your best life. Like, how crummy is it for people to, just focus on being able to afford a house, but they're having to drive 2 hours, they don't like the culture, there's nothing for them to do that they really love to do, and then they're stuck in a rut and they're depressed and, oh, I got this, I got that. No, you're you're not where you're supposed to be probably, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like a match. You really want to, it's like a marriage. You want to make sure that the fit is right. And so yes, a house is very important, but it's also the community of where you live and you work, that it makes sense for your family and for yourself. So that's why I'm so passionate, because I love it. I have this sense inside of me that I'm able to really steer people, listen to them and listen to their needs and understand what they want, and then steer them in that direction. And people will say, Grace, I never, like, I did not see that. Like, you are seeing things that I didn't see myself. And so for me, that is the exciting part about being in real estate, is having that conversation of, wow, that was quite the experience. We didn't expect to be here or end up here, but we love it.
I've recently moved myself, as you know, and it does make a huge difference to love your space. I did not love my previous space, and I just feel so much more alive and motivated and, all the good things. So that's a really good service. And it's almost like, you're kind of like playing therapist a little bit, trying to coach people into, a better life and helping them understand who they are actually as people. Something I realized just from moving around in my life is I'm much happier if I'm close to a fresh market, so I can get fresh food constantly. But that wasn't something I thought about when I was younger. So, I mean, it's just little things, and it's really useful to have somebody like you with the ability and the passion to actually pull that out. I've worked with real estate agents before, and they never asked me any of those questions.
Oh, are you serious? Really? Well, that's why I say the tag is, I'm the heart to your real estate experience, because it really does matter to me. It's not about transactions. It's about the people. So, you have realtors that, they, do 150 transactions a year. They got no life. They're, I'm not going to speak into that, but it's just me. I'm happy with who I'm looking after and taking care of. And so my business has grown organically and beautifully and wonderfully, successfully, because of coming from that direction.
And do you find yourself helping people, okay, so they found the location, they found a home that's logistically good for them and their family. Do you help them, figure out how to set up the flow in the house and maybe some different colors that might be good? Or do you get into that kind of stuff?
I wish I had the talent for that. Not so much. I'm not, I do, how I get the feel and the flow is I watch my clients. Because the way that I enjoy a home can be very different from my clients. So my attention is fully on the clients. And so I love that watch game. I always say to my clients when first starting, it's always important, for us to just, our first couple of times going out, that don't feel pressure about what you're going to buy or anything. For me, I'm gaining knowledge about you, who you are and what you like. So we're going to see some houses that you're probably not going to have any interest in, or you might be surprised that you really love. And I'm taking notes and following along with that. So as I get to know my clients, I know how they're going to respond. I know what they're going to like and what they're not going to like. And that's like part of the game for me. So, and their body language, their voice, or them being silent speaks it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily verbalizing, I hate this, I hate that. They'll walk into a room and it's just the way that they nudge their, turn their shoulders, or they, they lean their head, they start to see their items there. They see their Christmas tree there, and it's really cool to make that connection. But as far as colors and the design of a home, that's for my professional friends that are really good at that. And so that's when we call in for the specialists.
So you're speaking to the buyer's perspective, going out in that excitement of finding the new home. How do you bring passion to selling your current home?
Well, it's very much in the same way that when I'm meeting with my clients who are wanting to sell their home, and they love their home, they love where they've lived. Even if they don't even really love where they live and they want to change, there's always something that they have experienced that they've enjoyed. And so part of that marketing of the home is taken from the sellers who live there, right? They live in their community and they've experienced it. So I always highlight directly from the seller of why somebody would love that home, because that helps me, right? I haven't lived there, and I can say, oh yes, I love the open concept. I love the high ceilings. I just love the natural light coming through this home. But it's the owners that'll say, the neighbors are so friendly, on a 3:00 afternoon, you'll find your neighbors outside and the kids are playing, and, that's not something that I can add into. That's their experience. And that's part of selling that home. Selling a feature of that home is, again, the community, or, just the way that the sunlight hits at 2:00 in the afternoon in this family room. I just love to sit here. This is my favorite place of sitting in the afternoon to drink my tea and read my book, because of the way that the light hits this room. I just love that. So again, that's the seller stories. And I love highlighting those things about people's homes.
So recently you've rebranded, which is the impetus for this episode and this podcast. You used to work with a team, and now you're Grace Simon. Would you say just Grace Simon on her own?
Just Grace Simon.
So how would you, first of all, what inspired this shift, and how can you speak to how the team approach can be different from your new approach?
It's a really great question, Jade. It was hey, as you know, because you were caught in the crossfire of it happening, Jade, had hired you to help me with my website design and graphics and growing my business. And I loved my team idea of the New Doors team. I had this, big vision and idea of what it meant about bringing people into their journeys and walking through their journeys and opening new doors for their families and friends and living out your best life. And that's who I am. So it really did radiate everything about who I was. So I loved the New Doors team idea. What I didn't plan for, and this is all a learning process, so I still have that name to the side because I love it, and it really, it is a part of who I am. So I'm using that as my mentorship side of my life, my business, and hope to do something with it. But going forward in creating a team, I wanted to create an individual team of attracting agents that were like me, very community oriented, love people, very passionate, an idea. I didn't really put in everything in the process and systems of how to communicate that. You really have to know how to communicate your vision and dreams for other people, because it's mine. I carry it. I see it, right? Mm-hmm. So I can express it, but having the right people that will be able to carry that expression of who you are as a team can be a challenge. And so I just didn't set myself up for that. And so as we were doing our branding and asking, what really triggered it, Jade, was those questions that you guys gave me about who you are, what do you do, blah, blah. That just sent me into a spiral of it, because the team just didn't, I had some team members that I had, and it just didn't click well. But I really loved, again, the meaning of it. So when you asked me those branding questions all again, I was like, am I hate these questions. I know who I am. I know what I love. It just made sense for me to run with what I love, who I am, and people loving what I do as a realtor, as a friend, as a family member. And so I know I sent you guys these emails one day of I'm just going back to gracesimon.ca. This is who I am, and this is what I'm about. I am the heart of my business, and nobody can really copy that
Right.
Until I can figure out how to mentor people. And that's really what I do. Is I love to mentor. I have a youth leadership program in the town that I work at, and working with vulnerable students and 360 kids. And so I just have a real passion for mentoring people and giving them an opportunity. So that's where that new door will happen. But I have some growing and learning to do in just leading myself and being really comfortable with who I am and what I feel. Because I really, honestly, Jade, I never really saw the value of myself doing what I'm doing, and just being so excited about how important it is for people to discover their journey, and how nobody else does that, but I do. And I have this special gift of being able to do that. I never saw any value. I didn't really see the value in that. And so once I've just accepted that I'm feeling this, I'm seeing this, my years of life have been about this. It must have some value. People must really see that. And so even talking to you, and I had another conversation before this about saying, they're like, Grace, you got me so excited about this, project we're about to do. I've never experienced this before. That's just something I have. And I just don't even see it until people respond. So thank you for saying that, Jade, and just confirming that I do have a special value proposition, and I love it.
That's very exciting, and it's a true gift to be able to inspire other people. I think that's something that everybody needs consistently in their life. And from your real estate agent, from your doctor, from whoever it is, like it's amazing. So I'm glad you came to that realization, and it seems like you've kind of leveled up in the wisdom of Grace, and now you know how to transmute that onto other people. That's very cool.
Well, thank you for helping me do that. You've been, you and the team have really been helping me through that. And being a salesperson, but not admin, it's a challenge. And so you guys have the challenge to carry me through that. But I really do owe you a lot for just working with me through the process.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So let's dig into your brokerage. I know we kind of touched on this before we hit record. I have never heard of EXP, and you mentioned they're actually really popular where I am. I'm in Alberta, you're in Ontario. What makes a good brokerage, and why did you choose them?
Oh my goodness, I love this topic. So I'm glad you're asking me about this. I worked for a traditional brokerage for 11 years. I was with Royal LePage in town, and it was a great brand, very, Canadian brand. And I was so proud of that. I'm a proud Canadian, and I loved that I was working where I grew up and working with a Canadian company, and I just really loved it. I did very well. Was an award winner every year, and you receive, awards, medallions. Like they give you this nice lunch, and they give you a medallion, and they celebrate the success. But like the part about being a salesperson is so stressful because you work so hard all year long for every single year to start out the exact same way with nothing, right? And you don't know where your business is coming from. It's just like you just lead gen, you attract, do it all over again. And quite honestly, that can be very exhausting. And so I was kind of exhausted with that idea. It's like, my business is really about me and the service that I give. And what am I getting from the brokerage that I'm at? What are they really offering? And again, I love the brand, and I love the brokerage, and I love the people that I worked with. But I just didn't have this, no longer had this strong connection because areas were changing so rapidly in the GTA, York region, with so much immigration, with people moving further north for affordable housing, that my scroll of message of saying I'm original of Newmarket and just didn't really matter anymore, because people were coming into Newmarket for the first time and they wanted to be a part of Newmarket. So for me saying I'm an original, blah blah blah, wasn't speaking the message that I really wanted to speak any longer. So I just found myself being detached from that. And so that's why I started growing my own brands and doing my own logos and kind of pushing my traditional brokerage off to the side and highlighting myself. And so after 11 years, I'd always been invited to hear from other brokerages and what they had to offer. And I never entertained them because I was happy where I was at. Why would I change? Until somebody introduced me to EXP Realty. My life, my mindset, my purpose for doing business completely changed after being introduced to this company. And I'll tell you why. Because EXP Realty is a cloud-based brokerage. So where you are, where your pinpoint is, where you drop that pin down is not in a building. It's where you are as a realtor, who you affect, where you do business. That's where EXP Realty is. And as you know, Jade, businesses are changing, right? Blockbuster Video is now Netflix, right? Taxi cab services are now Uber. Everything has changed so dramatically, right? Where from hotels to now the bed Airbnb. It's just everything, innovation has changed, and EXP is that. Right now, we are in the middle of a COVID crisis epidemic where everybody is in isolation. EXP, we are just moving along as normal when it comes to the way that we handle administratively through our business. Traditional brokerages are closed down, everybody's working from home, but it's not an easy process because they've never had to do that. Where we are humming because all of our men, and we share all of our men across Canada. I've been working at home for the past 10 years. We're one brokerage with the US and Canada, and now with UK and England and New Zealand, Australia, did I say that? And we're growing. So we're all one brokerage, we're EXP, we're all agent owners. So that's where the exciting thing really comes in. Not just that we're cloud-based, we're innovative, and we're built for a time such as this. We also are agent owners. So it's not, I'm not only relying on the sales that I do every single year and starting out with zero. I'm always gaining because we're a publicly shared company. We went to the NASDAQ last year. And so now with every transaction that I do, I get 5% of my commission. I put into stock and just share into the company at a discounted rate. And so now I'm investing. Every time I do a transaction, we're a publicly shared company. We're an agent attraction company. So we build groups where agents come and we earn shares through that. And there's a few different streams. So I have like 5 different streams of ways of producing income. Which if you speak to any kind of finance advisor or specialist, they'll say, in today's age, it's really important for you to learn how to make different streams of income. So that's meeting that for me, that I'm earning shares, I'm earning extra dollars, I'm earning extra income, plus the real estate that I do. Real estate is always the number one, but that little bit of residual income turns into big residual income and you're going, wow, this really makes sense. So I'm able to brand myself. EXP wants you to be front brand. We're just powered by EXP. They give you the leverage. They give you the opportunity to really express who you are, what you're doing, and who you're doing business with. So it's really has changed my whole way of thinking, and the entrepreneur in me has just come alive. And that's really, really fun.
Yeah, it seems like a much warmer approach to business.
Yeah, it is. And because it was birthed in the States, they tend to be more, more cultural, like more patriotic than, as Canadians, we don't really take it on so much. They really don't fully understand, but coming in with this company, they really live to their core values, to their culture. Like our core values is community, collaboration, innovation, service, transparency, agile, sustainability, integrity, and fun. And I have not had so much fun. I mean, I connect with agents from all over the place because we're always on face-to-face Zoom calls. We have live training in this huge world. We have a cloud-based world that we go in and get live training. So we create these avatars. You can have hats, you can have different color hair, clothes, whatever. And you go into these classrooms. And we own Verbella, which is awesome for this time because they create these rooms, these virtual rooms. That people can go in. And so we'll have a few hundred people in our auditorium taking a lesson. And so they have the screen there where you can download the PDFs. So it's live action, teaching that you can, download and learn, and you can engage because it's live chatting. It's awesome. And so Verbella is something that EXP owns. So I'm a part owner of that as well. And so that's really taken off in this time because companies other than real estate are looking for these platforms because they can no longer meet together. So Verbella creates these big, massive virtual auditoriums for business or small, whatever you need. They just make these virtual rooms that you can go in and carry on life as normal and still have that interaction. And even though we're in avatars, it's kind of funny. There's something about just looking at something and having a conversation and they're talking to you. I don't know. It does something. It shifts something. So yeah, it'll be cool when we can actually do that real virtual where we're sitting in, the room, but we're not. Right. So, but we're not quite there. But it's something in the coming, I'm sure.
Wow. That was a much more exciting explanation than I was anticipating.
Were you? Okay. I told you. I love this brokerage. I love talking about it. Yeah.
Nice. You live in Markham. You love Markham.
Newmarket.
Or Newmarket.
Newmarket. Yeah,
I said Markham.
That's okay.
I was talking to my friend last night.
I
was talking to my friend last night who lives in Markham. That's probably where that came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, they're not far from me. They can be my friend too.
What do you love about Newmarket?
What do I love about Newmarket? I love Newmarket because it's an expanding, changing town, but it really still has that community feel. Like people, we have a core of people that really want to keep it a small town, and then we have other people that love to see, it grow and be urbanized. And so it kind of has that twofold feeling. We have a downtown core with really, very cool urban restaurants, and it's a very, highly visited area. We have summer concerts, live concerts out there. We have festivals and lots of things going on. And so because I'm very community oriented, I love the vibrancy of that people love to be out and they like to be a part of each other's lives. And so I love that, but I'm also I'm innovative and I'm forward thinking. So I love the idea that the outside of the town is going to be urbanized, with condos and stores and businesses running along the main corridors and the transportation changing where people can easily get around to town. I love that. We're creating paths for people to enjoy being in the outdoors with their families and being able to connect to our major veins of Newmarket. So there's lots of really amazing things about coming to Newmarket. We've hit the top 10 list of being the best place, one of the best places to live in Newmarket. So,
and is that in the world?
Just Canada. I don't know I bet in the world we probably hit somewhere, but Canada anyways. I don't know what I don't think in the world. I don't want to know what that number is. That would be pretty amazing. But
yeah, I would be very impressed if it was in the world.
Yeah, me too.
It's still very impressive for Canada.
It is impressive for Canada, sure.
Okay, so I have one final question, and then, we can, if there's anything else you'd like to dig into, what would people find most interesting about you outside of real estate and your career? Do you have a hobby? Do you have like something that you do? Like, are you a jujitsu master or something?
No, I'm not very interesting. I'm a town councilor. Okay. I serve my community as being a town councilor, and I really love that. So that's been kind of interesting, running my own campaign and being involved in that has been really, really fun. I run a Newmarket youth leadership program where I get to mentor and train up youth. I love that. I'm part of John Maxwell group. He's, a speaker, trainer, and coach. I'm part of Toastmasters, learning how to speak better in front of people. And so anything that requires influence and and persuading people to bigger and better things, I'm all over that. I would love to learn Spanish. I just haven't been able to fit it into my schedule to do it well. And I love going to Cuba and I love going to Mexico, and I want to set up a social enterprise cafe, different social enterprise cafes all across the world, basically. So I'd like to start my first one in Newmarket over the next 2 years is my goal. And then I'd like to go to Cuba and Spain and see where else.
And what is that? What is a social enterprise cafe?
So they're becoming very popular around the world, and for what it is for me, what it means for me is creating a community hub space where people that whether they're new immigrants or they're refugees or they're been rescued from the sex trade, because I really am an advocate and love to support anybody that's for fighting against human trafficking. And so, people that have come out of very vulnerable, sensitive situations, abuse, or whatever it is, if you struggle with mental health, I want to have a safe place that people can come and just start somewhere. And in the service industry of being able to learn how to serve coffee and speak English and be able to say hello to other people or hold the door open for them, what that means. And if, they struggle with mental health and they're only able to work a few hours a day or even a week, that you have a spot with us, you have a place with us, or, people wanting to learn English, that they're safe there, or, just starting there. And then in the back end, having a mentorship program where we have businesses that will come in and give their value, share, their expertise with the people that are there and involved or coming in from the community, that they can mentor them, they can train them. And so to get them out into what they'd like to do, whether it's creating their own business or getting a job that they can start support themselves, to getting them into homes that are comfortable for them, and, renting, owning, whatever the sky is, whatever the limit is for them, that we just want to make sure that they feel like they have a place, a part in this world, and that they have people around them giving them opportunity to do that. So that's my new doors again, right? That's what I just love the idea. If I'm able to collaborate with other like-minded people and giving people that opportunity, that's where I want to put my hands and my heart to.
Well, with current COVID events going on and all the isolation, you might be able to expedite that once this all starts, ending.
I know. I was thinking about that, actually, just the businesses that are not even going to survive, and the opportunities of spaces to start that. It could be very real.
Yeah.
Very, very real, very soon. So I am thinking about that and trying to figure out where I get started. So this might be the time.
It's going to be the new door into a whole new world, realistically. So exciting times.
Yeah, it is. And that's really what it is, AJ. It's I guess we'll talk about that in our next podcast. We're talking about COVID and how it's affected the market, but I really love to look at life with opportunity. Even in the darkest, most critical, vulnerable times of our life, something always good comes out of that. I'm a person of faith, and that's where I live my life out of. And so I just feel like there is nothing too difficult. Like, we could always get out of a really tough situation, and no matter what you're going through or what you've come through, you can find the good in it. It's being able to find the good out of it, because from the good you can build on, find another good, build on that. And so I've just learned in the past couple of years, just with my mindset training and coaching, that it's really important that in this hard time, it's sensitive, and we all feel for people going through what they're going through. It's devastating, and we don't want to make light of that, but we don't want to keep people there either. We want them to know that better days are ahead. Opportunities are coming. And so how are you going to be a part of that? Because you're alive, you're healthy, and you're well, and life is going forward. So what are you going to do today that when things change, you're going to be able to move ahead?
Absolutely. And I think that's a really great note to leave on, especially setting us up for next week.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to share or touch on that maybe I haven't asked you?
I think you touched on everything that I need to put out there for today, but I'm looking forward to our next one. You are fabulous at leading these podcasts. So, you'll get to know a little bit about me, and hopefully I'll get to know a little bit about you, and we can move this forward. Thank you so much for coming up with this idea and helping me along with creating my own podcast, Jade.
You're most welcome. Thanks so much, Grace.
Okay. Thank you.